Welcome to my home. It's what you would call a home. But I want it to be more than that. I want it to be an ADHD-friendly home. So I'm going to convert it into one. In case we haven't met yet, I'm Eric, and I have ADHD. I'm glad to have you here with me. The ideas that will go into the ADHD-friendly house are not just my own. Many will be sourced from my followers on social media and from comments here on YouTube. So be sure to leave a comment with your best ADHD-friendly tips to see them come to life in my videos.
The focus of today's video will be the office. So let's first take a look at what we're working with. Okay, now we're going to go through some comments and get some ideas. The first one comes to us from Helen Park. I set all my non-digital I set all my non-digital clocks around 50 minutes ahead of actual time, so I feel the pressure of being late. Although you know it's ahead, just seeing the time visually be later just helps with feeling the urgency. It's a good one. I like it. I'm going to do that, except I'm going to do 10 minutes ahead of time because I don't want to be 15 minutes early or something. But 5 minutes doesn't feel like enough time. Next, Precious Fluffington writes, a phone charger, scissors in every room. Yup. Actually, a few people said scissors in every room, and that's a good one. I always need scissors. Can never find them. Next, from DJ Fett, I painted an entire wall of my spare room / office with Blackboard paint. So I'm on a Zoom call, and I know I can't remember a point. Reading is hard. I painted the entire wall of a spare room / office with Blackboard paint. So when I'm on a Zoom call and I know I can't remember a point I want to say, I write it down in the wall beside me. If I write it on the paper, I lose the paper. Blackboard paint. Okay. From Moonchild, we have, I also have headache pills. This is a response to somebody's comment. I also have headache pills in several places. Handbag looks like a survival bag. Bedside drawer and kitchen drawers. Also tools are in the cupboard of doom, in quotes. But also 2 screwdrivers in my utensil drawer. Screwdrivers. So that's what I'm taking from this comment, the screwdrivers, because I always have a need for Phillips screwdrivers. Phillips head screwdrivers, and I can never find them. So Phillips head screwdrivers in every room. Next, from Williamine Camerling, in a Google Nest or Home or Alexa or some such, I never have to write down a shopping list. I just ask Google to put this on a list, and when it's time for shopping, I don't forget. So we're gonna deck out the home with either Alexa devices or Google Home devices. That's a must. Tamra Lawallen says, as a full-time student, I find it helpful to have a whiteboard in my wall to write stuff on. This can include things to remember, things I'm talking about, things that just pop into my head. This way I can't lose it and I see it often to remember. That also makes sense. I don't think you can have enough places to jot stuff down. Next, from Minette Staub, we have use a label maker or any creative way to label the heck out of everything. To label the heck out of everything. So, cool. Yeah, I actually picked up a label maker. So we'll have to put that into action. Next, from Raven is cool. I have a swing at my desk is really helpful for when I need to get homework done. So I want to know more about this. Raven is cool. A swing, like an actual swing hanging from the ceiling that you just swing on like a kid, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, that sounds amazing. I might need to talk that one over with my wife. Okay, Sabrina Brown. A visual timer that you can set in whatever room you are in so that you know when to get out the door, go to bed, etc. Game changer and less than $20 on Amazon. Yep, great idea. I am aware of the visual timers. I have not used one myself, but I think it's about damn time. Okay, Claire Kendrick says, live alone. Hey babe, I think you and the baby are gonna have to move out.
Why?
For YouTube. Well, we could talk about it later.
Okay.
Cope in the Chaos writes, smart switches and outlets linked to Alexa to turn off light when I'm in bed and left every light downstairs on. Alexa, turn off house. Yep, 100%. Fantastic. If I didn't get to your comment, I'm sorry. There were well over 100 comments to sift through, and I pulled the relevant ones for the office. If I didn't mention your comment, that doesn't mean I'm not going to mention it in a future video when we tackle a different part of the house. But this was great. Now we're going to go over some of the ideas that I had in addition.
With all the ideas collected, I'm now going to figure out where to incorporate them into the room. And to do that, I'm first going to sketch out my room to scale. This will help get me a visual before I start doing any of the work. Now I start filling in the space. I decided here to move the chalk cubby over to make space for a hanger where I can steam my clothes before filming. I also notated some arrows to indicate how my desk and chair will be moving in the room.
Okay, so now that I know everything that we need, I'm going to do a quick inventory check to see what I already have or what I can repurpose. And for everything that I don't have, we're going to go shopping for. Okay, we are back from the store. Let's see how we did. We've got the door, some rollers, some clamps that are gonna hanger, handle that I'm gonna cut the side here. I'm gonna pull that over, and yeah, that's about it. We got some good stuff. I'll show you the receipts here. We've got from Hobby Lobby, spent $19.01, and from Home Depot, I spent about oh, this is actually the wrong receipt, so I don't know how much I spent on Home Depot. I think I spent a little over $100, but if I find that receipt, I'll show it to you. Okay, let's get to work. Figuring out the order in which we should work tasks is not something that comes naturally to people with ADHD. We often end up starting at the wrong point and losing a lot of productive time moving from task to task because we don't have a clear outline of what we should do when. And this can quickly lead to overwhelm. So what I'm going to do is deploy a simple tool that I created to help me figure out the optimal sequence of tasks. And I'm adding a link to this tool in the description below for you to use at home for free. And by the way, if you're interested in learning how to make your own ADHD management tools, be sure to check out my program Life Actuator. I'm adding a link to that as well.
So the first thing I'm going to do is list all my tasks. Then I'm going to specify whether there are any dependencies or anything preventing me from doing the task. In this case, there was only one. The chalk wall should happen before the chalk cubby gets installed. Next, I rate the tasks individually on how useful they are, how much energy they will take, and how long they will take. I'll just call this category UET. Finally, we have our so-so category, which stands for significant other sign off. Should I talk to my wife about it before I just go ahead and start screwing holes into the wall? And this category doesn't have to be significant other. It can be parents if you live with them, landlord if you pay rent, etc. To the left, we have the order in which we'll tackle tasks. Everything with a dependency or so-so will be pushed to the bottom, and our UET will determine the order of the rest. When we're done with the task, we'll just check it off.
Here's my list. So it looks like we're starting with the cable box. Let's go. Storing cables is a disaster, right? It doesn't matter how neatly you curl them up. As soon as you put them in the box and later go rooting around for one, they're all going to turn into a giant hairball. So here's the solution that I came up with. I have a simple box here with a notch cut into it. I put my cables into the box and poke the business end out and stick it on one of these notches. And why? Because when I'm looking for a cable, the first thing I'm looking for is this end. Will it plug into my device? I can see that easily, pull it out. Is the cable long enough? Sure. This is usually USB anyways. Get my cable, I'm good to go. Putting it back is simple because I can just throw it in here loosely, poke this end out, and I'm good to go. So that's it, simple solution. Now I'm gonna go around making notches on this box, put my cables in, make sure everything looks okay. Then I'm gonna stick it into my closet, and we're done. Okay, seems to be working so far. These fatter cables for the HDMI are, I had to cram it in a little bit, but you know, it's holding up, so I think this is gonna work. The real question is it gonna be easy to pull a cable out? And yeah, for the most part, that's pretty easy to do. So I think as long as I keep the cables in here kind of loose and don't, you know, pack it in too tight, I'm not gonna have an issue. Maybe with these, like, so this one is a charger. That might be a little harder because it'll get kind of clumped up. So maybe what I need to do is keep the chargers, anything with a adapter on it, I keep it in a separate box. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so that's it. We've got all of our cables with adapters in this box, and then we've got all of our other cables here, just looking gnarly. Everything has been put in loose, so grabbing a cable out of here is fairly simple. Here's one that I put in early on, and I was able to pull it out without, you know, creating any additional messes in there. So yeah, I think this is going to work. One thing that I kept in mind here, and is always important to keep in mind, is organization in, organization out, right? A lot of times we think about organization through the lens of how easy is this going to be for me to interact with as I'm taking objects out of it, but not so much how am I going to organize things as I put them back away. When we take time to clean up and organize, that's dedicated time to organization that we're not going to likely put into it when we're just on the fly putting things away, right? So the beauty of this system is I don't really have to think about organization in that much. All I'm doing is throwing a cable in, putting it in the notch, and that's it. I don't have to organize it. I don't have to take time to organize. I think this is going to work. I do a majority of my filming from my office, so I'm constantly moving film equipment around, and not having a designated space for it, it ends up everywhere. So I'm going to create a zone for all my equipment when I'm not using it. How? Electrical tape.
This is a very simple but effective way to help stay organized. Just by creating a visual of a dedicated zone where specific things go, you're eliminating that small but impeding question of, now that I'm done with this, what do I do with it? Because if you have to think about that question, in the moment, you're much more likely to default to, I'll just leave it right here. I'll worry about it later. And by once again making the organization easy, you're not creating any additional barriers for yourself. It's all about keeping it easy. It's always a good idea to keep items stored and organized as close to where they're going to be used as possible. So in this case, because I change outfits a lot when I film, I'm bringing a portion of my wardrobe to my office and setting up a station to steam and lint roll my clothes. Not only will this make getting ready faster and easier, but it will lessen the possibility of me getting distracted on my way to look for clothes in my room. A file cabinet for papers is a must. And for your trash bin,
Here's a little mini tip. Stick a bunch of extra trash rags in the bottom of your trash bin. So when you use up this one and you pull it out, you can just grab a fresh one from down at the bottom. Okay, now that we've gotten some of the faster, easier projects out of the way, it's time to move on to some of the more involved ones. And we're going to start with the open storage. So here's the plan. So here's our shelf. We're going to attach it to the wall right above our cable boxes. And the way that we're going to do it is by cutting two small pieces of a 2x4 and screwing them into the wall at the bottom of where the shelf is going to sit. And then we're going to have screwed into the wall a small piece of wire that we're going to loop around one of the back pillars, and that's going to keep it up against the wall. It's a simple design, but it should do the trick. So now that I'm down here looking at everything, I'm going to need to revise my plan a little bit. If I just screw 2x4s into the wall, it's not going to come out far enough to support the open storage. So instead what I'm going to do is build some shelves that come out to the second bar here and attach that to the 2x4 that I screw into the wall.
A la boca no.
This doesn't need to be precise. So I'm not going to attach this piece right now because this I'm going to screw into the wall. I'm going to attach this piece to this piece, the support to the shelf, and then attach this piece to this piece, just like that, and just screw it in. So I split the board, but I don't really care. I don't think it's going to matter too much. This feels pretty strong.
So what's the point of hanging this thing? Because it would have been much easier to just put it on the ground.
There it is.
The answer is visibility. It's much easier to see everything when it's raised up, which is the entire purpose of the open storage in the first place.
There we have it. That is secure. Okay, paper roller time. I'm excited about this one because I love using scratch paper and it's going to be nice to always have it around. Originally I was planning on putting these hooks at the end of the table and having the roller sit in between, but being that this is the length that it is, I'm not going to be able to do that. Instead, I'll need to add an additional piece of wood. I found this scrap wood in my garage under the desk. This, attach the wood to the desk, you can't really see that there, but attach the wood to the desk underneath and then have these hooks attached to this piece of wood and have that be just a little bit wider than this roll of paper. So they can sit like this. The dowel is going to be down the middle and then I'll be able to roll the paper out and put it onto my desk. So that's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to work. The first thing I'm going to do here is just take some quick measurements. Perfect. It's funny. So these knobs I found at Hobby Lobby and discount clearance rack. So they're kind of, I don't know, antique-y looking. Not what I would have chosen if they weren't discounted. They were like $1.50 a piece to steal. And these are ornate wrought iron. I don't even know what they are. They're not curtain hangers. I was looking for curtain hangers initially, but they didn't have any at that store, and I didn't feel like going to different stores. So I found these instead. Hey, they'll do the job. Hopefully I can just quickly do all my measurements up here, then go down, make my cuts. The hook is going to sit right kind of on that where it dips in. Just eyeballing this, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. My dowel, this piece of wood, boom, boom. And then I gotta drill a hole into this dowel right there and screw this guy in by hand. What's annoying is when I go down, I have to bring my filming equipment, lights, camera. You know, I might just bring my phone down and one of my lights because I don't feel like moving everything. Let's go make some cuts. Drill a small pilot hole. I really don't want to split this wood. Split it. No! Whatever, I'm just gonna leave it as is. size went a lot better. There we have it. It's pretty heavy, so... Okay, because I'm worried that this thing is gonna just fall right off of the desk, what I'm gonna do is drill 4 holes. I have 2 screws coming in up from the bottom. I'm also gonna have 2 screws coming down through the desk into the wood. Because we're going through, you know, a pretty thin piece, if I don't drill the hole, it's just gonna split the wood and I'm gonna cry, and I don't wanna do that. There. Okay, we're holed up. Yeah, right there, I think. It's on there pretty good. There's no need for those additional screws on the side. That'll stay for sure. That's it. Pretty great. Okay, next we're going to create a cubby for my keyboard and my mouse. When I do filming on my desk, a lot of times I'll need to move this stuff out of the way to clear out a space so you can see what I'm doing. Well, that part might not be relevant to you. What is relevant is that you create spaces around you where you can store stuff and access them easily without really having to go out of your way. So for me with my keyboard, I need to be able to put it out of the way, but I don't want to put it somewhere where I need to get up and get it afterwards, right? So that's why I'm creating a space for it underneath. And speaking of that, let me show you what's going on underneath. Get your mind out of the gutter. So right here is the space where I want to be able to slide my keyboard. And over on this side, I want to be able to put my mouse in. And then I'll probably put an additional little cubby right here where I can store pens, scissors, and a screwdriver. Again, it's all about quick access. So here's my plan. I'm going to cut a piece of cardboard to the size of my keyboard, then cover the piece of cardboard with black duct tape. Then I'm going to, using the duct tape, create 4 flaps that will allow the bottom platform to hang the height of my keyboard, and then I'm going to screw in the ends of those flaps to the bottom of the desk. And I'm going to do the same for the mouse. And these flaps will be slightly taller to accommodate the height of the mouse. And then finally, I'll put one more cubby for my pens, scissors, and screwdriver. Since the length of the keyboard will bring us all the way back to a support beam under the desk, I'm not going to need to add a back to this shelf because this little support beam will serve as the back, but I will need to add a back to the pen holder and the mouse holder as well. Actually, thinking about it now, what I'll need to do is also create a wall on either side of the pen holder so that they don't fall out the sides. So we've got keyboard, pens, scissors, Phillips head screwdriver, and mouse. Let's get to work. Square. shelf.
If you're wondering why I don't tape the entire thing, it's because I really only care about the part that I'm going to see. I'm not going to see the bottom of this when it's set up.
Okay, I'm going to make a slight revision to my mouse holder. Instead of having a flat bottom and a wall, I'm just going to have one strip coming across, well, several strips coming across that make a little sling right here that the mouse is going to fit right into. So much simpler design.
Don't even need the back flap. That will work.
So for the last little cubby here, the one that's going to hold the scissors, screwdriver, and just pens and pencils, I'm going to try to do something a little different. I want to make shallow cuts in the cardboard and then fold it together like a box, you know? Do 3 inches in the back and 2 inches in the front. Okay, so here's your little cutting template. Now I'm just going to make shallow cuts because I want, well, hard cuts here and then shallow cuts here because I'm going to fold those pieces over. There's our little cubby. Okay, I'm going to make a quick addition to my paper roller here. I'm currently using this ruler to hold the paper down because if I don't, it just flops over. But instead, I got a couple dowels. I cut them to size, and I'm going to put one on top of the desk, one underneath the desk, and then use rubber bands to put a little pressure down on the desk, holding the paper in place. That'll work. Okay, so next up, we're gonna try to tackle this desk sliding situation. What I'm hoping is I can just flip the existing feet of the table upside down and create little skis that'll make it easier to slide on this carpet. So let's take a look. So here's the foot, and I'm gonna lift up the desk right now. You can see we just have 2 screws in there. So I'm gonna get an Allen, unscrew these, and just see if I can flip them over. And hopefully just turn this guy upside down, and we've got a couple skis, and we can cross it off the list. Got the foot off. This is what I'm thinking. I just put it on upside down. One down already. Whew, all right, now I just gotta do the other side. Yep. Perfect. To be honest, in the beginning I didn't know how I was going to solve for this problem, but just dedicating a few minutes to thinking about a solution, and I was able to come up with something that only took me a few minutes to do. It seems like a small thing, but it's going to make life a little bit easier. Okay, thank you for joining me. Please state your name for the camera. You can say whatever you like. I'm going to bleep it anyways.
Okay.
First and last name. Okay, so to give you a quick background on what this is about, in my videos I'm going to be making some decisions that you'll probably want to have a say in, and so I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about them before I just go ahead and start drilling holes into walls, etc. Yeah, of course. I am nothing if not considerate.
Sure.
Okay, so the first thing, and they're all pretty, like, you know, they're all pretty minor things. The first thing is converting the closet sliding door into just a giant chalkboard. So I'll take them off, paint them in chalkboard paint, put it back up, and then that's it.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Would you be doing it from top all the way to bottom?
Yeah, the whole thing. Yep, the entire.
But you're not going to be using the bottom, right? Like, you're not going to be down there.
No, but I think it would look better if the entire thing was covered.
Yeah.
Just black doors.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Nice. Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. The second thing is going along with the chalkboard wall. Next to it, just installing like a little chalkboard cubby. So building a small cubby, then just screwing it into the wall to go.
Nice. Makes sense.
Perfect. Okay. And since you responded positively to the first 2 things, I'm just going to assume that the answer is yes to the last thing. So we don't need to talk about it.
No, let's talk about it. Just in case.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
The swing? Putting a swing in the office. What do you think?
Listen, I love the swing idea, but the office isn't that big, and you have a lot of equipment there already. You have a lot of, it's just a little crowded, and I think a swing would make it,
Too congested?
Right, exactly. So that's, but you know me, I like spacious, minimalism. So unless you have it completely organized with all your lights and everything you have, I think it's just going to be super crowded in there with the swing. So
Yeah.
I think you could start with organizing the room, making it...
See where I'm at, and then determining if the swing makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, I think that's reasonable. That's all I got. I appreciate you taking the
wow.
time.
Whew. I was expecting a lot more.
I'm hoping that the...
See, I wish we had this conversation when... before you decided to...
So that's all the time we've got. I think we're going to need to wrap
what
this
you
up.
did to our kitchen and our bedroom door, but
Okay, well, we could talk about that when I get to the kitchen portion of that. There's no sense in bringing it up now. It's really just no point. Okay, well, thanks again.
thanks for looping me in.
You got it. Okay, welcome back. So somehow I forgot to ask you about the last thing on the list, which is adding a small shelf right by the door that's going to serve as the zone where I put stuff that I need to take out of the office.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Okay, good. So back to the swing. I think if I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's it.
That was easy. I was a little nervous.
Yeah, I left an easy one there for you.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
But
No, I was nervous about the whole thing. I thought you were gonna be like,
you did great.
gonna, I don't know, make a tunnel somehow to the garage. I don't know.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Part 2.
Okay, so we just talked to the wife and we've got approval on living room shelf and blackboard wall, and also the chalk cubby, even though I didn't mark that as significant other sign off. But I mean, it was definitely something that she should have had input on. So that's been removed, and now we just have one dependency on chalk cubby. We'll do that after we have the blackboard wall installed. So our task order has been rearranged, and now we are on to living room shelf.
Okay, let's talk design. I went out and I got a couple shelf supports just to make this a little bit easier. So I'm going to use these, screw them into the wall. I've got a thin board, I think it's a 1x4, that I'm going to use to lay across these supports, just like that. And I'm not exactly sure how wide I want it to be yet. I don't want it to be something that potentially gets in the way of any of the filming that I do. Behind you right now is a really nice large blank wall that I can use as a blank backdrop, and I think in the future I'll probably include some rollers that I can pull down some colored paper for if I want to have a different color backdrop. So I don't want to have too much getting in the way of that space. So what I'll probably do is stick these under the light switch in the corner, because that's unusable space, right, because of the light switch, and have the shelf be maybe about that wide. I don't know, maybe a little over a foot or so, just so it's not too obstructive. Yeah, you know what, we'll have it be a foot wide. Why not? Like, if 2 boards is good, then I'll do 2 boards. If 2's not enough, then I'll do 3 boards. Depending on where those boards sit on this, I might need to put a support down the middle. So that's the plan. Let's go get started.
And here's just a quick shot of what I was drawing, because I wasn't giving you a good angle on that last shot.
Okay, so here's the piece of wood that we're working with. It's a 8-foot piece, so we've got plenty. Here are our shelf holders. I don't know why I'm struggling to think of the name of these. I'm just going to call them supports. And they're going to go like this, right? And we'll fit 2 on here. Got this squat piece right here, so I'll just use that to run underneath. And that's it. Simple. All right, and I'm going to make an update to my design. I'm going to make this 16 inches across instead of only 12 inches, because that's not a very big shelf. I think any smaller than that and I'm just going to be limited. So we're going 16 inches.
So, masks and beards don't get along. So I just sanded it down and it's nice and smooth. And I think actually what I'm going to do is leave it down here and paint it with the Blackboard paint if I have extra. Not that I'm going to use it as a blackboard, but it might look nice if it's in a matching color as one of the pieces in the room, which is going to be that Blackboard wall. So instead of just having it be unfinished like this, it's going to be black. So let's move on to the next thing.
Okay, so now we're going to do the closet doors. I'm going to take them off right now, bring them downstairs, sand them down, prime them, put the Blackboard paint on, let them dry, bring them back up. Also, you'll notice this door is a little wonky here. I know it's got something to do with little slider wheels up there, so this will give me an opportunity to fix those. The only concern that I have is I don't think these are definitely not wooden doors, so when I sand it, I don't think I can go too deep with it. I might sand it, smooth it down, but not even bring it down to the level of the wood or the wood, whatever's down there, you know. I don't want to risk damaging whatever this material is and then not being able to use these doors. So eventually I'll probably replace them altogether, but I don't want to worry about that right now. All right, here we go. There's one door. Actually, you can probably see that right there. See how it's off slanted? It should be straight up. And you'll notice that I also put another little shelf up here to store some things that I don't access as frequently. All right, I'm gonna go take this stuff down to the garage. I needed to pass some time before finishing the chalkboard wall, so I decided to install the chalk cubby, which actually turned out to be a shelf and in a different spot than I had originally thought. The first two times. I also plugged in a smart speaker and popped in some smart bulbs.
Hey Google, turn off Office.
Got it. Turning off 3 lights. Sorry, it looks like...
Okay, so at the time of applying the chalkboard paint, I didn't read the back part where it specified that I need to wait 3 days before applying chalk to the chalkboard. So it's been a long 3 days, but the time is finally here. And there were further instructions that now are covered up in black chalkboard paint, but I believe they said something along the lines of you need to cover the entire chalkboard wall with chalk. You need to do one pass with chalk, wipe it off, and that chalk dust is going to make future applications of chalk easier to erase off the board. So that's what I'm going to do now. There's also some confusing bit about after 7 days you can clean it with a damp cloth, but you can't do that after 3 days. You have to dry erase it. So I'm just not going to even worry about the damp cloth at all. I'm going to cover the whole thing in cover the whole thing in chalk, wipe it down, and then we should be good to go. So let's do it.
Hope I'm not allergic to chalk dust. I also hope I was reading those instructions correctly. Alright, so chalk has been applied. It's great. Now I just gotta wipe it down. I don't have a chalkboard eraser, which would have been probably the right tool for the job, but this probably is not too different, right? Inhaling a lot of chalk dust right now. I mean, this definitely looks more like chalkboard. So I guess the damp cloth would be to, make it black again. It's dusty in here. I also embellished the leaving office shelf as well. Wasn't the plan initially, but it looks kind of cool. Okay, we are almost done. Just a few more final touches to make. And we're going to start with an easy one.
Visual timer. That's not going to be visible on a lot of the stuff I need to put it on, so let's try this. Wow, okay. So we got white on a green background. Why is it green? Whatever. Not the color I was expecting, but hey. Whatever. We can work with green. I mean, just give me white background and black text, right? Okay. Let's start labeling. Now it's time to take a quick look at everything we did. Well, that's going to wrap things up for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got some good ideas to take home and incorporate into your home office. We've got a lot more work to do in other parts of the house, and there's definitely some more we can do in this office, so make sure you stay tuned and please keep the ideas coming. And a big thank you to everybody who left a comment with an idea. I can't wait to incorporate more of those into the house. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, share it. It all helps the channel. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.